Hey, what's going on? Eli Skinner here with Simplify Real Estate. Want to talk to you real briefly about what to do when you get a lead that comes in. This is not a warm lead. This is just a lead in general. We're talking about, for instance, a Zillow lead. Say your team lead gives you a Zillow lead, right? Nobody's talked to them other than maybe one initial conversation that got them to you. That's it. No warming up, no big deal. They don't know anything though, and you're gonna meet them. They want to see a house, right? They're like, oh, we want to see this house. You have no idea what their buying power is. You have no idea what they've done with their life, with their money. You don't know what they're looking for. Hardly, you kind of know what they're looking for because they're showing you a house. But here's what I want to tell you to do. Here's the process in which you can actually help lock that lead in. Okay, so first of all, the lead comes in, buyer lead comes in. Make sure you're contacting them immediately. Okay, so you're making sure you're in immediate contact with them, and you're excited. You're the best there possibly could be. You work with a great team. We all really focus on working together to make sure we're doing the best thing that we know how to do, which means you may not do everything. You've got this great strategist behind you. You've got transaction coordinators. You've got lenders, right? But basically, at the end of the day, your initial contact with them is excitement, is energy, because you can imagine, right? They were crazy enough, or at least desiring enough, about a house, about the concept of a house, about something that they saw on the internet, clicked a button, talked to a human in this day and age, and then you're like, hello, yeah, okay, yeah, well, let me check my schedule and I'll give you a call back. No, are you kidding me? These people are stoked. They love this house. Oh, hey, what's going on? It's Eli Skinner with Simplify Real Estate. How are you? Yeah, I saw that house. I love it. What was it that really drew your attention to the house? Oh, man, I know, I love it. And the wind, man, it's just like great, the yard. I love it, love it, love it. So when would be a good time for you? When are you off work? Can we maybe do it, are you free tonight? Are you free maybe 5, 6 o'clock tonight? Absolutely, okay, great, good to know. You're having this whole thing. But man, I'm so excited. So here's what I want to do. Have you bought a home before? Yes, okay, great. How long ago was it? 10 years. Awesome. So things have changed a little bit, but the reality is I want to help make sure that we all understand where we're headed, what we're going for, all that. I want to get to know you. I want to kind of just have this face-to-face with you, just make sure we're headed the same direction. I understand your goals and what a win looks like to you, because I'm telling you, my number one goal through this entire process is to make sure you win. And you get to define what winning looks like. So I need to hear what a win looks like for you. Okay, and you may not even know what that is yet, but that's what's going to work with me. You're going to help define what a win is. Okay, so here's what I'd love to do. I'll set up an appointment for that house tonight, but I'd love to meet you at 5. You said 5, right? 5 o'clock p.m. tonight at Starbucks up there on County Line Road. I don't even know if there's one on County Line Road. I'd love to meet you at the Starbucks. I'd love to meet you at whatever. Maybe we'll go shopping at Target. Whatever. I'm just kidding. Let's meet up at this place. It's 5 or 10 minutes from that house. And let's just sit down for a few minutes. I'll grab the coffee for us, and we'll just kind of have a quick powwow on what this looks like. Does that work for you? Yep. And then right after that, we'll go look at the house, and we'll know a little bit more about where we're headed. Cool? Awesome. Sounds great. Now you've got them committed to a face-to-face buyer consultation meeting. It's not look at the house. Okay, great. Thanks. We just wanted to see it. Okay. It's if they're not willing to have a buyer consult, man, like this. That makes it much more difficult to think they're a legitimate buyer. Don't get into the details of the buyer consult on the phone, but definitely get them to a buyer consult before you show them a home if you can. If you can't, it's up to you, but I would say show them the house anyway. But honest to goodness, I wouldn't do a second one unless you can have a buyer consultation, because the reality is they need to know what it looks like to buy a house, and they need to begin that process of buying the house. Okay, now we're not putting the screws to them on this stuff, but we're just saying, you'll see here in a second. Okay, so get to the buyer consult. Again, you're high energy. Why would they want to work with a fuddy-duddy? That's the whole point. That's why they work with Simplify Real Estate, because they get the best of the best, people that love their job, people that make great money, know they're blessed and want to bless other people. That's why we're in business. That's what you've got to exude. Okay, but first of all, you're going to meet them, you're going to talk, you're going to small talk for 5 minutes. Don't make this thing long. But then you're going to go over, I know you said you bought a home, or hey, I know you haven't bought a home yet. So I want to just show you a quick video that we made about the steps of buying a home. okay? Maybe you don't have the video with you, that's fine. It's either accessible or it can be, either way, I don't know. But anyway, it's the 5 stones, right? We're crossing a creek. This is no big deal. We've talked about this a million times. We're crossing the creek of home ownership, okay? We're going from no home, crossing the creek, so now we have a home. Maybe it's an old home to a new home. Maybe it's an apartment to here. Maybe it's mom's basement to the new house. I don't know, but we're crossing a creek. Here's the cool part. We go through the whole thing, right? Here's the cool part. There's 5 stones you got to hop on as you're going to cross this creek, and then the last jump puts you on at closing. This is you moving into your new home. It's pretty simple when you really break it down, but I do want to make sure you know, because here's the deal. You've got to do them in order, and if you don't, you can definitely get frustrated, and there's issues that will arise. But here's the good news. If we take a jump onto a step and we slip off on one of these rocks, guess what? We're in a creek. You get wet. You fall in the water, you're fine. You get up and we do it again. You'll dry off in the sunshine over there once we bought your house. Like, you're totally cool, okay? No big deal, you'll just get wet. First step, first stone, first jump, the first leap has got to land on a pre-approval for a loan. Unless you're buying with cash, you've got to get financing lined up. Because wouldn't it be terrible? Let me ask you a hypothetical situation. We're walking through a house together. You love it. And you see another car drive up. You're like, oh, this is my dream house. What are these people doing here? You know, and you're like, Eli, can you make the key disappear? I'm like, no, I can't make the key disappear. Okay, so this is our situation. You're in the house. You love it. You know these other people are coming, and there's 18 other people going to show up because it's a hot house, and everybody's going to love it. How would you feel if you weren't allowed to make an offer? If you couldn't make an offer? Pretty stinky, right? Like, this is your dream house. You want to be able to make an offer, right? Well, guess what? If you don't land on that first rock called pre-approval, you can't make an offer. I mean, you can, but they're not even gonna look at it, right? Like, you don't have any money. Nobody's saying they're gonna give you money, therefore you can't make an offer, okay? So that's the situation that I don't want us to be in. And if I'm telling you, I've had people try to skip this step. They find this beautiful house. We then start the pre-approval process. Then 14 other people make offers that have done the right steps, and they already pre-approved. They already have their money lined up, okay? So first step, line up your money, pre-approval, because we want you to be able to make an offer when it's time. It doesn't have to be the first house. It doesn't have to be the second house. It doesn't have to be the 10th house. But when that house comes, how are you going to feel if you can't even make an offer? Because you haven't done the first step of pre-approval, right? Again, you can shorten this, you can make it, but you want to paint this picture of loss. The fear of loss for them has to be greater than the fear of getting pre-approved or not getting pre-approved because they failed at. But the fear of this loss, this like, oh no, I might miss out on the house I want, that's got to be painted and made huge, okay? Second step, find the house. This is the fun part. Everybody loves this. Most people try to do this first. It's not the way to do it, but they try to do this first. They're looking on the internet, find all these homes they love. That's what we're going to do. Once we're pre-approved, we are going to find that. As a matter of fact, if you're on your way to pre-approval, I'm honestly willing to show you some homes, but we have to have a decent idea of where we're looking in price range, because you might be looking at $250,000 houses and your pre-approval is only for $160,000, and you're going to be sorely disappointed in the difference between those two homes, okay? So we want to make sure we know what we're looking for. But we look for the home and we find it. That's the second stone. We all know this. There's other videos on this. Third stone, let's win the bid. We have 4 specific elements of a strategy. It's like a guaranteed win in a multiple offer situation if you'll do them all, okay? I'm not explaining it all to you right now, but the reality is we have to win the bid. That's the number 3. It's more difficult than just slinging offers out like all the other agents do. We actually strategize with our CEO, our boss, the owner of the company. He's actually the listing coordinator and the strategy specialist for buying homes, and we will work directly with him to make sure that we put the best offer in that you guys specifically tailor-made, that you guys can put in on the house to make sure that we win if it's possible to be won, okay? That's the third one. Fourth one, then we inspect the house. We make sure that the assumed condition that we're paying for in our offer is precisely the condition that it's actually in. If it's not, then we'll fix it with repairs or maybe bring the price down or whatever. That's what that works. We as a buyer and the seller also assume a certain condition. We therefore agree on a price. If the condition comes in here, we then make adjustments, okay? So that's the inspections. Then we have it appraised. The real here thing is we want the bank to agree with the valuation that we've all put on it. So the seller thinks it's worth this, you think it's worth this, we're hoping the bank thinks it's worth this as well or more. If the bank thinks it's worth this, then we have some more work to do, but that's fine. That's why we're here to get you through those sorts of things. Those are the 5 steps. After that one, literally you're just waiting on closing. You jump onto the bank, we close, you get the keys, we take some pictures, and we celebrate because you're moving into a new house. Those are the 5 steps, right? Bing, which is pre-approval, get your financing lined up, whatever that looks like. Find the house, win the house, inspect the house, appraise the house, close on the house, and be a great homeowner, okay? That's the 5 stones jumping across this creek of purchasing a home. Does that all make sense? Do you have any questions? Now, I don't want to deep dive on inspections, but we'll answer that one. Okay, so they're going to ask you some questions now. They may ask you a couple of questions, and you honestly deflect some of them if they're really deep and convoluted. You don't want to be here for 2 hours, and that's part of it. You got to we're here. You got a home to go show. So, that's a great question. Let's talk about that when we're at the house. Great question. Let's talk about that after we've seen this house, and maybe we have some more time on the phone when we're all driving home. Great question. I don't want to get you confused or taken off this first goal of getting pre-approved, but we will absolutely work through that once we have a little bit more time to spend together, or we can do it over the phone, no problem. Answer something simple. Oh, do you have an inspector for me? Absolutely. We've got everything you need. Okay? Now, that leads you into talking about what buyer's agency is. This is where you get your buyer's agency agreement signed. Now, little known fact here, buyer's exclusive agency, you can write a 0 in, that this buyer is not gonna pay you anything to purchase a home, okay? That's one of the biggest fears of an agent to not getting the buyer's exclusive agency signed, is you're like, it looks terrible, because I'm saying you have to buy with me, and if you do buy with me, you owe 3% of the purchase price. And they're like, hold on, I owe you money? I thought the seller paid that. And then you have to like go through this whole thing that says, yes, the seller generally pays that, but in the event the seller does not offer any buyer's agent commission, then you're responsible, or we can try to negotiate it into the deal, blah, 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 blah. If you want to avoid it, I don't know, I don't care, I don't wear any underwear. Honestly, write a 0. If the buyer is required to pay you absolutely nothing, but they are required to work with you. Okay? Pretty simple. If you don't want to work through some of the money side of things. But honestly, sign them up for cash. Let's go. But your big deal is explaining what agency is. Explaining what you do, how you fight for them, how you're always working on their behalf, how you're helping them search for homes, how you're opening doors for them, how you're using the company's assets and resources to benefit them. How you go through the whole thing. You show them the list of the agency law. I mean, I don't care. Your point is you got to tell them why you're worth a paycheck. Because you're trying to get them to sign up with you. Why are they going to sign up with you and not somebody else? Okay? Talk about buyer's agency, how you work on their behalf, always for their benefit and their good. And you're here to bless them, and you're helping them to hear that. Again, my #1 goal is that you win, and you get to define what winning looks like. So we're going to work together to define that, okay? Bill, there's some words for you. So you go through this buyer agency thing. You tell them about why, part of this would be why we're different. Why we're such a good company, why you're such a good agent, why you're the best there is. It's because you've got everybody lined up that they're gonna need, not only for this home purchase, but for the future as well. For the home purchase, we've got inspectors and title companies, we got loan officers, we've got we got appraisers, we don't really have appraisers, but we kind of do. We have appraisers, we have surveyors, we've got everybody. And then even moving forward down into your life, we've got financial counselors, we've got insurance guys, we've got everything you need. We've got people that open doors, people that handle contracts, we've got people that work strategy. We've got it all for you. So I guess one of my questions right off the bat with you, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, is are there any of those people I just mentioned, any of those trades I just mentioned, have you already worked with any of them? For instance, do you have a title company that you know or you love, or you have a friend that works there? Do you have an insurance agent that you trust to manage that process of getting insurance on your new home? Or maybe a lender. Have you worked with a lender at all on getting your money lined up like we talked about that very first stone? Have you done any of that work? No. Okay, cool. Most people don't. That's why I asked though, to make sure that you didn't, because I want to honor that if I can. But for now, let's talk about that, because I do want to make sure that you and I are on the same page as far as what we're looking for in a house and what your payments are and all that stuff. So we're looking at the right stuff, and hopefully this house we're getting ready to look at is the right one. But I've actually got a lender that's amazing, and I wanted to know if it's okay with you if we just call him real quick and you and him kind of have a quick little conversation, just so you're confident in your ability to get a loan. I mean, he's real quick. He's going to ask you how long you've been at your work, what kind of money you make, how your credit is. You may not know how your credit is, but he can ask you then, well, have you missed any payments on credit cards, or have you had any bankruptcies or anything like that? So he's going to get some of that out in the open so that you're confident walking into this house and into the future houses until we get you fully approved with where we're at and what we should be looking for. Because you can tell him how much payment you're looking for. He can therefore tell you about what kind of house we should be looking for price-wise, okay? You cool with that? Because actually, let me see if I can get a hold of him right now. Ring, ring. Hey, Austin. Yeah. Eli here. Hey, I'm actually with a really cool person. This is John and Sally. They're actually looking to buy a home. We're sitting here talking about what it means to buy a house and all that stuff. Wanted to see if you would just kind of do a quick pre-qualification over the phone, get an idea of what we should be looking at price-wise. Okay, cool. Thanks, man. Here they are. Ding, ding, ding. Ask them some questions. Get back. Hey, man, thanks a ton. Appreciate that. Give me the rundown, just the quick synopsis. What are we looking for in a house? Okay, price. Okay, got it. Great. Awesome. Well, I'm going to get them headed toward the path of true pre-approval so that we don't miss out on the opportunity to make an offer when we find one we like. But I appreciate your time, man. Thanks. Bye. Boom. Done. Pre-approval done. They're locked in more. They're moving in the right direction. All that's happening. And then you get them ready for the true pre-approval. You send them the link. You send Austin and him a text that says, hey, you guys, I'd love to see you guys connect over the next day or two to get this pre-approval going, whatever it is, okay? So then you get that ball rolling and you jump up and say, let's go see a house. And you take them to go see a house, you have a blast, and you know that you've covered everything and they understand. In this 5 stones, this is one of these areas in here is where you can talk about the money they need. Don't forget that. You're going to need earnest money of 0.5% to 1% of the purchase price of the home. Can't buy a home with zero money. You might be able to not put any money down and not pay any closing costs, but you're going to need 0.5% to 1% of the purchase price in earnest money. You're going to need $500, depending on what you do. You're going to need $500 to $1,000 for inspections, right? Depending on the lender, you might need $400 or $500 for an appraisal up front. So you need about $2,000 in the bank minimum to have even a conversation about buying a home. And that's good to kind of get out here. And that may tell them right away, hey, we don't have that. What do we do? And you can have those conversations right there instead of showing houses that aren't worth seeing because they have no money, okay? This is a new strategy that I really want to help you guys employ that I think can help you. And then you show the home, and then you're following up. That's when you get their search criteria together. Okay. I recommend you either write it down or just go ahead and have your computer right there set up, because you're also going to get all their contact info /contact info, because you're going to need that for the search criteria anyway. But now you got all their contact info. You got the search criteria rolling. You say, awesome, let's go look at a house. Oh, look, search criteria results. There's actually another one over by that one that seems to fit what Austin you just talked about as far as price tag goes, and it fits your search criteria. Would you like me to see if I can set up an appointment on that one as well? Now you're seeing 2 homes at once, 3 homes at once, and you're not wasting your time leaving your house more than you have to. Okay? Then follow up. I always tell you, find a significantly legitimate reason to call them again, to text them again, okay? Old people listening to this right now, whatever old means to you, stop calling people, okay? If they're a caller, call them. Stop calling people. Stop calling me. Text me. Text almost everybody. No phone calls. We are too busy to take phone calls. Emails, get lost. Text is the way to go. Oh, but it's not very personal. They can't hear your voice. 80% of communication is nonverbal. Awesome. Take a video of yourself and talk to them and send it on a text. Okay? This is how you communicate to people, and it's always high excitement. It's always high energy. It's demonstrative. It's loud, and you are here to help them win, period. That's it. That's all we're communicating constantly to them, and they're going to love it. Okay? Follow up, follow up, follow up. Keep showing houses. Keep checking on the pre-approval. Hey, just want to see how that pre-approval is going. Talk about a seemingly legitimate reason to call them again. Text them again, to whatever them again. Let's see how that pre-approval is going. Hey, I checked in with Austin. Said you guys had a good conversation the other day. Anything I can do to help? Hey, what's up? I want to see how that pre-approval is going. Can't wait to see more houses with you. Hey, pre-approval. Hey, pre-approval. Oh man, that sounds good. So you should have them by the end of the week. Ah, it's so great. I'm excited. Let's do this thing. Any other houses popping through that you think you want to see? That is the strategy that will help you win. Land these leads. You're paying too much for them. I'm paying too much for them. Somebody's spending time, effort, energy, or money, or all the above to get that lead in. It might be you, it may be somebody else. You gotta land it, okay? This is how you do it. Do not pre-approve them over the phone. Let your lender do that. And it shows how available he is, right? Call your lender before you have this conversation and say, hey, I'm gonna have a buyer consultation at 5:30 tonight. Are you gonna be available? Can you please answer your phone for me so that they know that you're a guy that answers your phone when we call, and do a quick pre-qualification. Explain this to them, and they're gonna go, absolutely. Boom. You call, look at that, second ring your lender picks up because he's such an available guy. Okay? This is how you create an environment where they trust you, they know you care, and you can help them win. Got it? All right, that's how you finish and work a lead. Talk to you later. Love you guys.